Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. Thank you for joining me once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to another preview starting lineup as we take on Burnley today. Huge game for Arsenal, very big game for Arsenal. I think we've not had a very important game like this one. It's one that Arsenal really need to take into account very seriously, one that has big implications on our table, on our position on the table, and you have to consider it. It's one, it's one game that is between that period where you're heading into the final days of the transfer window, but also it's that game where you're looking at going into the World Cup qualifiers. So it's going to be another 2 weeks before playing football, before playing Premier League football. And remember, Arsenal, we are only, we are only in one cup. We are only playing, one league. That is the Premier League. No Champions League, no Europa League, no nothing, no FA Cup, kicked out of the Carabao Cup by Liverpool. So that means the only thing we've got to do, the only thing we can do is go to go to the Emirates Stadium and beat Burnley. Right, lads, I need your opinions there. I need your thoughts there. Later on, we shall have the transfer show on Sunday, of course, the Sunday transfer roundup, and talk about everything that actually happened in the week in terms of transfers. But do this, do the job, smash the like button, and get your predictions in. What do you think should be the lineups that we should be using? We do have a couple of injuries, we do have a couple of red cards, and I think they're really going to affect us in this game. But I think the guys at SofaScore have come up with a very beautiful lineup, starting lineup, and we're going to be looking at it. And I think it's just as relevant as mine. So I really never bothered to change the starting lineup at SofaScore. So let's look at the starting lineup first, because I think that is that is going to be very crucial. The lineup that we go with, the lineup that we start with, is going to be absolutely very crucial. Xhaka is out. Partey is out as well, so those two players will be, out on suspension. Xhaka will be missing one game. Partey will be missing one game, and of course, going back to World Cup qualifiers. So that means, he's not really yet back. Xhaka will be missing 3 games. I think starting with that game against Liverpool in the second leg. Then he will be missing this game against Burnley, and then I also think the upcoming game, it will be Brentford that he will be missing. So Xhaka is out, and what that means, I think it has very big implications. It means we're going to see the same Arsenal side we saw against Liverpool, starting with a single pivot, with Albertson Lokonga in that single pivot. It's quite a threat. It's quite very difficult to see Albertson Lokonga, for me, play in that single pivot. Look, Burnley, you might argue really that the quality Burnley have and the quality they're able to put in, it might not be that threatening. It might not be that that strong. But you've got to think about it. What if? I mean, I think that that is the question. What if? So let's look at the starting lineups, because then it would give us a sense of what we are going to see in this game. Right? Let me share my screen with you around there. Here we are. So starting lineups as provided by SofaScore. Right. I hope you can see that. So Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Gabriel Magalhaes, Kieran Tierney, Tomiyasu. I think the back four is absolutely fine. I could make this bigger, just around there. Right. So I think the back four is okay. I mean, that's the same back four. Tomiyasu really had a very bad night against Diogo Jota. It was really it really didn't look very well. But I think you're never gonna have all those, all those games in your life. You're never gonna play at the same level all your life. You're always gonna have those, games where it goes well. You're always gonna have those games where it doesn't go well. Tierney, I think our fullbacks are going to be very, very key in this game. I'm also going to tell you why. And also, I think Ben White and Gabriel will be very key in this game. Abesam Lekonga will be playing in the single pivot. I think we'll be playing a 4-1-4-1 formation unless Mikelata decides to play a 4-2-3-1. And that means Martin Odegaard really going very, very deep. But of course, if Odegaard goes deep into that 8 role, then Emil Smith Rowe will be playing as a number 10. I don't want to see him playing in that number 10 role. I just feel like it kills what he's all about, because Smith Rowe, for me, he's all about that that vibe, roaming into spaces, getting into spaces, stretching play on onto the wider areas of the pitch. That is what I want to see him do, and that is the beauty of his game. That is what he really, really does, as a player. But of course, you've got to think about Burnley. You've got to give them the respect they deserve. So we might see a 4-1-4-1. Odegaard and Smith Rowe in that kind of double pivot, ahead of Absam Lekonga, Saka White, Martinelli White, and Alexander Lacazette. Now, the only change I would make to this lineup, lineup is I would really drop Emil Smith Rowe deep and Martin Odegaard a little bit advanced, because I think Emil Smith Rowe, if we can groom him to that kind of number 8, I think he's got the abilities. He's a very, very good dribbler. He picks up the ball in deeper areas. I think he just loves drifting into the wider areas of the pitch. But if we can use him in that kind of pivot, not really as a defensive midfielder, to help up with Abesam Lekonga, which I think he can also do. But I just feel like just put him in that pivot with Abesam Lekonga, so that he can drive the ball, so that he can, when we pick up the ball, especially maybe on the break, maybe when we need to run, into spaces, he can do that with the ball. So I'll try Emil Smith Rowe with Abesam Lekonga in the pivot. Then Martin Odegaard, because we've seen he's very, very effective in that advanced role rather than playing in a very, very deeper role. So we could use him right up front there. Burnley and Nick Pope will be in goal. Charlie Taylor, Ben Mee, James Tarkowski, Matthew Lowton. They always play back four, and a midfield four of Dwight McNeil, Jack Cook, Ashley Westwood, and Aaron Lennon. I think the players to watch out for Burnley is Dwight McNeil. A very, very, very dangerous player. Very, a very, very dangerous player. And if you look at, his rating at SofaScore, it speaks volumes about him. 7.16, almost the best player for them, in that team, coupled with James Tarkowski and Ben Mee. And we'll talk about Burnley in a minute, as we enter this game. So they play that forward line. They always play a 4-4-2, and I think that is what Sean Dyche has always wanted to play. So we expect to see J. Rodriguez up front with Matej Vidra. I think it's a big blow that they have lost Chris Wood. It's a heavy blow in the plans of Burnley and what they could be expecting and what they were planning this season. Because if you look at the season, if you look at the standings this season, here we are. If you look at where they're standing, they're 20th on the table, and they have lost their best goal scorer over the years. They've lost their best goal scorer. They have lost almost their best player in Chris Wood to Newcastle. Newcastle are their direct rivals, and you can see Newcastle. You can see them there. They have started making those kind of advancements. They've started making those kind of progress out of the bottom three. I still feel they will not get relegated because, look, they have 15 points. Watford and Burnley. Watford shouldn't be there really. They've been exciting whole season, but I just wonder why and how they picked up very, very few points. But if you look at Newcastle, then they're only 1 point behind Norwich with a game in hand. That means if they pick up a point, against, in their game in hand, then they can be above, Norwich. But the focus here is on Burnley, right? The focus here is on Burnley. They're 20th on the table, and that for me speaks volumes about how Arsenal need to handle themselves in this game. It's a game that we need to win regardless. It's a game that, we need to win minus any excuses. We'll get back to we'll get back to that. So the starting lineups, as you've seen them, 4-4-2 for Burnley, and then a 4-1-4-1 for Arsenal, with Albasam Lokonga in that single pivot. So I think the only problem I see in this game, lads, is we are playing a brutally bruised Burnley side. They're 20th. This is the side that has, managed to keep themselves up in the Premier League for some time. Is this the season where they're gonna get back? They still have chances of fighting relegation, because if you look at the gap between them and the gap between them and Leeds, it's 8 points, right? It's 8 points. And Leeds are currently on 22 points. It's around, no, it's around 8 points, isn't it? 10, 11. It's around 11 points, really. And there are 3 games in hand. Those are 9 points. Of course, they can't really win all those 9 points. They can't. But they still believe they will survive relegation. I think, the top 4 race is as exciting as the relegation battle. And Burnley looking at it, in this sense, we can survive relegation as long as we pick up points. And we know, during the second, part of the season, it's when you see, those kind of shocks. Burnley beating Arsenal because Burnley are desperate to survive relegation. We've seen Norwich beat Everton, and we've seen that, and we were like, wait a moment. Did Norwich just beat Everton, and Norwich beating Watford as well? So and you can see how that has affected Norwich. Only 6 points picked up in their last 2, and they're out of the red zone. They're actually 1 point off the red zone. Newcastle also believe that they can do the same as well as Burnley. So Arsenal need to be very, very careful in this game. But let's talk about Arsenal and what the game means to us as well. I've talked about what it means to Burnley, so I don't expect anyone to ask me, because what does this game really mean to Burnley? Hit the like button and get involved in the comment section. What do you think Arsenal should be doing to beat Burnley, and how important is this game for you? Right. In terms of Arsenal, let me show you the table once again. Because in terms of Arsenal, this is a game where we either win it or forget the top 4 race. And I'm serious. We either, we have slowly, picked up and gathered those games in hand, which is disgusting for me. Absolutely disgusting. I hate them. I absolutely hate games in hand. There's a way they just disgust me, honestly. Because you know what? They just give you that kind of level of comfort that have games in hand. If I keep myself in the top 4 race with my games in hand, I can be better. And you know what happens? You lose the games in hand, you lose points in those games in hand, your squad gets tired. They're bogus. They are absolutely bogus, because they just make you, pile games. Other teams have played their games. That means they have more time to rest. They have more time to refresh their squads. And for you, you're piling up games. Look, West Ham have played 23 games this season, and of course yesterday, if you don't put into account yesterday's game, because I thought they really did well at this defensive wise, they should have done better, in regard of defending the ball. But they have 23 games played. Arsenal have 20 games, right? And if we beat Burnley, we shall be. Let's look at the table once again. Just a moment, right? Because if we beat Burnley, we'll be above. We'll be above. Um, right. Just make this a little bit big. I mean, I don't know why it looks so small. Browser, right? So here we are, lads. So right, lads. So this is it. So if Arsenal beat Burnley today, which I think we might, we go above Spurs. We go above West Ham, right? And we will go above Manchester United. I think I think we'll go above Manchester United, won't we? Because we've scored 33 goals and we've conceded 25. That gives us a pretty good goal difference of around 8. And Manchester United have a goal difference of 6. So even if we win this game, we will be on the same level. We'll be on level points with Manchester United. That means, sorry, get out of the top 4. We will see you later, right? We'll see you later, United. It's not your time to get in the. And I think this is the point we have to make. Here, do we really believe that top 4 is on? Do we really believe that we are fighting for the top 4? If we are fighting for the top 4, then we have to beat Burnley. Not because they are on they're 20th on the table, because like I said, they have 3 games in hand, and we don't know where they would be if they won those games. But 35 points, beat Burnley, got to 38, level points with Manchester United with a game in hand. That is what we're looking at, and our game in hand is Wolves, I think, isn't it? It is Wolves the first leg that we didn't play. That is our game in hand. Or probably we have another because we didn't play Spurs as well. So we have a couple of games in hand. We have a round 2. Actually, think about it. At the moment, we are 2 games behind Manchester United, and they're only 3 points ahead of us. So it's a point that we have to take. These are 3 points that we have to take, because you go a point above West Ham, and West Ham do have so many games ahead of you, but you're ahead of them in terms of points, in terms of goal difference. Are we ahead of them? I think they're a little bit better than us. They have 10. They have 10. 10 in terms of goal difference. I think if we beat Burnley like 2-0, we are on the same level of goal difference as West Ham, more points than them. It's a non-negotiable. It's clearly a non-negotiable situation. Either Arsenal win this game or the top 4 is over. And why I say or the top 4 is over, if we fail to win this game, say we make a draw, we'll be 1 point above Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are really, really in fired up form, right? Villa are coming. Leicester are coming as well. So it's a game that Arsenal really can't afford to draw. We can't afford to lose. And actually, for me, if I were Mikel Arteta, I would tell the squad that we cannot even afford to win this game by 1 goal or 2 goals. This is a game where we need to win by 3, by 4 goals. Honestly, that is what we have to do. But anyway, let's then talk about the team news and who's available, who's not available as well, because a couple of players will be coming back, and a couple of players will be missing this game. Like I said at the beginning of this video, 2 of our best midfielders, actually 3 of them, will not be here. Mohamed El Neni will be out of this game. He's in Africa. You have the man himself, Thomas Partey, suspended. Xhaka suspended. Pablo Mari has gone out on loan to Udinese. Angel Martinez has gone out to Roma on loan as well. So you can see the squad is narrow. Kolasinac has also left for Marseille as well. So the squad is becoming narrow and narrow. At right back, we might not even have the backup that we want. We might not have, the backup Chambers and Cedric not available as well. So in terms of the team news, we do have lots of problems. We do have lots of concern, in there. But I think it is not a game where we should be looking for excuses. It's a game where we should be looking for strong points, right? So let's get to it and try to picture what is going to happen in this game, right? Burnley play that kind of 4-4-2. We know that. We've looked at the starting lineup. They play that kind of 4-4-2 where their strongest points are their back line, their wings, and the front two. They do not have midfield. They don't have midfield, midfield strength. And actually, if you compare our players, let me just show you this. If you compare our players with those Burnley in the midfield, it's quite fascinating. Look at this, lads. Abasam Lekonga 6.9, 6.98. Martin Odegaard 7. Emil Smith was 7. That is in the midfield. If you compare our players with let alone the quality, but if you compare our players with the midfield of Burnley, Ashley Westwood and Jacob, you can see that there is a very, very big difference. Jacob is 6.33, and for me, the reason there is it's so sad that I cannot really get average positions on this, on this website. It is always on it's always on the app, right? I should be getting screenshots from the app, because if you look at how Arsenal play, we play through the midfield. Our strength is getting that ball, having it, keeping it, and trying to create dangerous attacks, and whatever we do is through the midfield, and that's why you saw against Liverpool. The moment Liverpool controlled the midfield, the moment Liverpool managed the midfield, it was gone, right? So Burnley on the other side are very different, and that's why I just feel like it is not that important that Partey and Xhaka are not in. Yes, it is important because it just gives you that kind of solid foundation. It gives you that kind of advantage against them, because some of your best players are in the side. But Burnley are not really going to put in this kind of midfield threat. They don't do that. But what they do is they're very, very deadly when it comes to aerial balls. They're very, very deadly on the break. Dwight McNeil. Let's look at Dwight McNeil just for a minute. I hope I can see some of his stats here. Not really. They don't give me much. They don't really give me much on surface score. I would love to. Okay, right. Here we are. I have it, right? So look at his heat map. Look at Dwight McNeil and look at his heat map. Look at that red on the flanks. That is where he operates all the time. And for me, he's their key player, right? Apart from Chris Wood, who's gone to Newcastle now. That's bygones. We cannot talk about Chris Wood. Dwight McNeil is the key player. Let's look at he's played 17 games. He has started 17. He plays 89 minutes per game, and that shows you that shows you how important he is. For this side, shots per 90 1.2. Big big chances missed per 91. Shots on target per game 0.4. And a couple of other statistics, really. But this is what I want. Not defensive wise. This is what I want. Right. Successful dribbles 2.1. 2.1 per 90. Total dwells 6.3 per 90. Ground dwells 5.9 per 90. You can see. I think Dwight McNeil. You're looking at a classic example of Burnley. Look at if you look at his rating in the previous games, 6.2 against Leeds, 6.8 against Manchester United. That was good. 7.5 against Burnley, 7.0 against Newcastle and 6.6 against Wolves. So again, he is one of those players where if it's happening for him, then it is happening for Burnley. If it is not happening for him, then it is not happening for Burnley. And I think this is where Arsenal really need to be very, very cautious. He's a very, very deadly player, and he's a very important player for them. So Dwight McNeil, again, Tomiyasu has got to be very, very key in this game. He's got to be on top of his game. He was very, very poor against against Liverpool in the midweek. We didn't talk about it, but he was absolutely very, very poor, very, very poor. And the reasons there, we talked about them players really suffering from COVID, coming back from COVID and things like that. But Dwight McNeil is going to be a big test for him, right? But apart from that, I think Arsenal have a huge advantage in this game. A very, very huge advantage in this game. After losing Chris Wood, because the pivot they used to play up front, or they do the front two, has greatly changed. At the beginning of the season, it was Chris Wood playing there, I think, with Ashley Barnes, but now it has really changed. Matej Vidra now playing with Jay Rodriguez, so you expect a little bit of a difference in performance, but area balls, we've got to deal with area balls. Absolutely. That is something that if we do not deal with it, we are absolutely gone. Burnley and James Whiskey, that is what they do. They always whipping those crosses. They always whipping those, corners. They always, use and take advantage of dead ball situations. And that's why you can see that James Whiskey and Burnley, their ratings are in green. They're also very, very important players, especially James Whiskey, because he really gets on the score sheet. He can really, really get on the score sheet. I don't know how many goals he scored this season for them, but I wish I could. I wish I could see that information here on SofaScore, but I think I can't. Right? I think I can't. But if you look at Whiskey and what he does for them, definitely he's one of those key players, and probably and most especially in the air. That is what we have to deal with. I'm not really scared about them in the air because I feel like Gabriel and Ben White have really done well in terms of improving improving in the air, in those area balls. They've really done. Whiskey this season has played 16 games out of the 17 they played, and he has started 16 games out of those. Played 90 minutes played 90 minutes in all of them, and is featured in Team of the Week 2 times. Right, you can see you can see how important he is. He's already scored for them, and look at the big chances missed. That is what I'm talking about. Look at the big chances missed. This is a centre back, right? We're talking about a centre back who has missed 4 big chances, and he has 2 assists. This is another this is a centre back that he has 2 assists for Burnley, right? Averages 47.4 touches per 90. His passing accuracy is 69%. In his own half is 83%, and in the opposition half, that is 57%. So that shows you that he's a very, very good player. By the way, as a centre back, those numbers: 4 big chances missed, 2 assists, and the goal. There are not so many centre backs that do have those numbers. And I think where James Whiskey is very, very deadly is one of those players that help Burnley move the ball right from their own half to. We've not looked at his heat map really, but if you look at his heat map, it just helps them move the ball from those deeper areas to up front. So we've got to be very, very careful. So how then do we beat Burnley? They are an area team. They love playing area balls. That is what they do. How do we beat them? I think that's the big, big question. How do we beat Burnley? I think to beat Burnley, lads, I'm going to say this. We need to be fast, very, very fast, because, when you're slow, you're playing into their hands. When we play slow football, when we play a slow game, we will be playing into their hands. We need to be as fast as possible. we need to be as clinical as possible, and then we don't need to go aerial. I think that is one thing we can never win against them. They're very good in the air. If you look at their back line, Takawski and Benmi, that is their strength. And they also have a very, very good goalkeeper. But the rest of the areas, actually, I think Benmi, Ashley Westwood, Takawski, and Dwight McNeil, those are the strongest points for them. The rest of the pitch, you can utilize that. You can utilize that. So if you're playing Saka and Martinelli, I think they're going to be very, very key players in this game, Saka and Martinelli, because look, Burnley love sitting back and then getting you on the break, right? So you have to open them up. You have to use individual brilliance. Remember the last game we won against them. Away from home, it was a free kick from Martin Odegaard. And I'm going to ask you, lads, if you still remember that game, how many more chances did we create in that game? How many more chances did you see? How many more times did you see Arsenal through on goal? How many times? Very, very few. Very, very few times. And the reason, lads, is Burnley do not open up. They're not a Brentford. They're not a Wolves, a Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Wolves are really brilliant, but they don't play free football. They're very, very conservative. They're very defensive. They play a low block. They pack the bus. If you want me to say that, I'll say that. They definitely pack the bus. So we're going to need these kind of players that are going to be a difference, and that's why I always thought by this time Arsenal should have a good central midfielder, in this team. We should have a very, very good central midfielder in this team. Because if you look at Odegaard, it's gonna be picked out. I think they will pick out Odegaard, they'll pick out Saka, and pick out Gabriel Martinelli. Apart from those three, there is no other player on that pitch that is going to create a difference. Smith Rowe, yes, he can, but we know Smith Rowe is very, very good when it comes to team play. He's not so good at carrying the ball and removing bodies and doing that, right? So if you mark out Odegaard, you mark out Gabriel Martinelli, who I think is going to be very, very crucial in this game, just like he was in the Liverpool game, and Saka. Should be very, very crucial because again he was very, very crucial and very important in the first leg when we played them. And I think the free kick came off. The free kick came off Saka that Martin Odegaard converted. Yeah, it really did come off. Bukayo Saka. Right. So I think for us to beat Burnley, it's going to be how well can we utilize the chances, the few chances that we are going to get, but the first question is, can we create those few chances, right? We'll get to talk about Mikel Arteta's press conference and when he said, but can we utilize those chances? Can we be in that position where we create and utilize? I think it's very, very important. Like I said, if he keeps on missing chances, like he missed against Liverpool, we are not winning at the Emirates. But then, we do have an advantage. They're coming at home. It's at the Emirates Stadium. And we've not had a bad run, really, right? Because the last, this year, we've lost to Manchester City in a very good performance. We've lost to Liverpool at home in the Carabao Cup. We've drawn against Liverpool at the Anfield in the Carabao Cup as well. So we played 3 games this year. Not really easy games. And with a shortage, in terms of squad, and the fact that our players are tired, Mikel was being asked, and a couple of managers being asked about what they think about players getting a rest, and they were saying it is really, really crucial. Squads are getting tired. Remember, COVID affecting you just makes your body weak and tired. And then when you come back, you have to play 90 minutes. It really makes the job very, very harder for you. So Arsenal, be clinical. For me, if you're going to beat Burnley, we need to be clinical and we need to be very, very serious. Absolutely. There are no two ways about it. Serious, clinical. Really want Arsenal to forget about Dusan and buy a midfielder. That's according to Michael. Cossy, good morning, bro. Tell me transfer for Dusan. And Renato is are they coming or not? Thanks for the work. Thank you so much. Gogo says, good morning, brother. We are gonna make top four if we get two players now, a striker and a midfielder. Thank you so much, much appreciated. There in the line. Please let us know, break the bank. We want Dusan Vlahovic. Okay. Clinton break the bank. How? We have offered a significantly high amount. What if it backfires? Really, I'm not going to really comment about transfers because we're going to have a full transfer show. You'll excuse me. Morning, Cossy. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Anu. Hope you're doing well. We need to risk before we get what we want. Clinton says, this is Clifton. Yeah, says we are tired of rumors. We need two players in midfield and forward. Champions League next season. This is not a rumor show. This is a match preview. That's good. Update, bro. All right. Thomas Fury says, hi, Cossy, good morning. Just watching, waiting for the game. Yeah, I'm waiting for the game, and I'm really looking out for the game, really, people. I'm really, really looking out for the game. Really. Good morning, Cossy. I want to know if Vlahovic will join Arsenal. How do I respond to that? No. Yeah, I think no. At this point in time, no will be the better answer. Good morning, watching you from Kenya. Thank you so much, my man, Ogoya. But do you think our midfield is going to be strong without Partey and Xhaka? Look, if we're playing a team like Wolves and Wolves, Brighton, because in Brighton you have you would have Bissouma and Mwepu there, it would be disaster. But I'm gonna say we're kind of lucky, right? We're kind of lucky. Why? Is we're missing Partey, right? So we are only having Lokonga, Odegaard, and Smith, bro. But if you think about it, how good are Burnley in their midfield? I think that is the point. I don't know if I'm making a very, very weak argument, and I would love to know if I'm making a very, very weak argument. But how strong is Burnley's midfield? Jacob and Ashley Westwood. Westwood is more of that kind of progressive midfielder. Is a little bit dangerous, deadly, but I think Lokonga can deal with Ashley Westwood. Do they have any kind of attacking threat? Really? No. They play that kind of slow, boring, play. That kind of slow, boring game in the midfield. They just want to have their players, play at a slow pace, and then distribute it, distribute it to the flanks, and then crossing all the time. How many times do they cross in penalty? I think. Listen, McNeil, how many times does he cross in penalty? I think there could be that team that crosses in balls and crosses and flips in crosses more than any other team in the Premier League. They are. So their strength is not in the midfield. So I don't think we're going to have this huge midfield battle of Moutinho, Ruben Neves, and then maybe and Partey and Lokonga Xhaka. It's not going to be that. It's going to be. It might actually be an end-to-end game, like it was. In the first leg, because in the first leg it was actually open, not very, very open, but I was surprised that it was that open. They were giving away those free kicks. Of course, they do knock you. They're a little bit physical. That is also part of their game. But they were just letting these. They were giving us those kind of channels for Saka to run through, and eventually we had them. We had them. So we might not be strong in our midfield, but they're not strong either. So I don't want to. I won't do my match reaction And please, people, check out 99 Sport. I'm going to be live for the match watch along, and I'll be doing match watch alongs for AFCON, for the Premier League, for countries. So make sure you do check out my channel. Yeah, Cossy 90 more. Oh no, 99 Sport. I changed the name for purposes. I changed that name. So make sure you do subscribe to that channel, and subscribe to the sports channel. They've done a very, very interesting piece about. They've done a very, very interesting. Hey, what's happening? They've done a very, very interesting piece about Chess Fabregas. So check it out, right? Check it out. It's very, very interesting. So then, lads, what I was trying to say and what I'm trying to put across here is that the midfield battle that we are looking at, yes, it's gonna be there, but don't be afraid of it. No, really, no. Don't be afraid of it. It's not going to, it's not going to be the reason we lose the game. No, it's not going to be the reason we lose the game, right? What are you people saying, right? In the chat. Good morning to you. The name is very, very hard, but good morning. Henry says, Cossy, well done. I'm feeling you're important. What we need is who's going to utilize your our chances up, Ghana's. Okay. Good morning to you, Edson. Good morning to you, Edson. Hope you're doing well. Cossy, Burnley is one of the teams giving the Gunners a hard time. I have taken along without seeing Arsenal beat Burnley convincingly, but I predict Arsenal. Very, very good point. Very, very good. Absolutely, very, very good. Absolutely spot on. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. A hard time. And you know what, yeah? This is not Burnley. This is not a Burnley Arsenal affair. No, it's not a Burnley Arsenal affair. It is a Burnley and teams that play progressive football. It is Burnley and teams that play open football. They just make life hard. That is what they do as Burnley. They make life hard. They're not going to open up. They don't open up. They play that midfield four, right? And this is it. They play a midfield four, but Aaron Lennon and Dwight McNeil are almost playing as deep as fullbacks, and much of what they do is splinting, right? So they always have these two outlets. In Chris Wood, who is no longer available, so they have now Matej Vidra and Jay Rodriguez or Ashley Barnes. They have those two outlets. So what they do is they sit very deep, very, very deep. I'm very, very unlucky not to be able to show you average positions, but they sit deep. They even don't play a high line. They sit deep. They defend very, 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 very close to their goalkeeper. They sit very deep. They just make life hard for you, right? They make life hard for you. And I think Arsenal will be coming in this game expecting that life is going to be hard against Burnley. It's a very, very good point. But it's not only Arsenal. Ask around. It is not only Arsenal. Many clubs struggle to beat Burnley. Very, very many clubs. Let's see. Can the table really justify what I'm saying? Right? Listen, lads. This season, Burnley, right, have scored 16 goals, but they've only conceded 27 goals. They've only given away 27 goals. You know what that means, yeah? Listen to this. The teams around them, Watford, have conceded 40 times. Newcastle have conceded 43 times. Norwich have conceded 45 times. Everton have conceded 35 times. Leeds have conceded 40 times. Brentford, 38 times. Crystal Palace, 31 times. So if you ask me, which clubs have conceded the least number of goals in the Premier League so far, right? we will be talking about City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. Because of course, I think Mikel really values the the defensive ability. Wolves, we know how organized they are defensive wise. Brighton, we all know how defensive they are. And how brilliant they are defensive wise, right? But apart from those teams, and I think and Spurs as well. Apart from those teams, the rest of actually, I think it is only, if we can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 7. 8 with Southampton. Southampton are also doing very well defensive wise. 8. Right? 8. No, actually 7. So only 7 clubs have defended better than Burnley, who are bottom of the league. And of those 7, Arsenal have conceded 2 goals less, only 2 goals less than Burnley. So it shows you what their plan is. Their plan is don't fast, do not concede, and then just wait for that opportunity to score 1 or 2. Because the fact that they have conceded 27, they have also only scored 16. That means that their defensive prowess is coming at the expense of their attacking prowess, right? They attack very poorly and they defend brilliantly well. Yeah, you've got to give it to them. They defend well, because if you look at the teams in their zone, all of them have really conceded 38 and above goals. Brighton 38, the rest actually 40. Leeds 40, Everton 35, Norwich 45, Newcastle 45. Right, so it shows you that they're really good defensive wise. They're really good defensive wise, right? Cossy, we are we getting mellow? I'll be giving you an update around there. I'll be giving you an update around at the mellow. Cossy, you have no voice. I'm unable to hear you, really. But I've streamed for 45 minutes. If I had no voice, people would be like, Cossy, you have no voice. We've streamed for 40, almost 50 minutes. You can't say I have no voice. Please, maybe just turn up. Good morning, watching you from UG Kampala. This is according to Disson. Thank you so much, Disson. Isaac says, morning, everyone, but we should hope for the best result today. If Arsenal don't get this right, I don't know. Yeah. If we don't get it right, I don't know. Because we need to get it right. Watching from Pakistan, love your work. Thank you so much. Wow. That's a broad range, really. Yeah, that's a broad range. So I need your predictions live, because we won't be having that. That show on air. The pre-show is going to be on 99 Sport. Right. So make sure you join me on 99 Sport. I will be live there, 99 Sport. I'm always happy to do content there as well, because it just gives us, a chance to, a chance to talk about, very, very different things. I'm going to share the link with you for that channel. Here we go. So that's the link for 99 Sport in the comment section. Please do check out that channel. Very, very, very brilliant channel. Very, very brilliant channel. It's one of those channels where we speak more than Arsenal, and we speak about Arsenal like we are not even Arsenal fans. So if you want that objective analysis, there. Hi, Cossy, Arsenal 2, Burnley 0. I just wish this cup, happens true. I just wish it is 2-0. I just wish it's 3-0. Right, Cossy, I'm worried. What happened to Arsenal? Can they take position 4? I think we can answer that question, lads. And after this, I'm going to schedule a live stream for transfers. So don't get tired, really, lads. Transfers, there is that, breakthrough with Arthur Melo. So I'm going to schedule a live stream for transfers. We are going to be live at we're going to be live at around 2:30. So I'm going to give you around 8. I'm going to give you around 2 hours to recharge your data, and then we are back. Right? It's weekend, so lots of content during the weekend. And then, because I wanted to do an upload, but I want to do a Sunday review. Right? I want to do a Sunday review because after the game we'll have player ratings and we'll have a match reaction. So around 4 videos today. So what we should do really is let's have our transfer show live at 2 or 2:10 or 2:15, and then we wait for the match reaction and then the player ratings. How do you see? Big content from big content creator here you have in Cossy. But one thing, the other thing I wanted to say, lads, was that if Arsenal beat Burnley 3-0, we are serious. We are serious. If we fail to beat Burnley 3-0, we are not serious. 3-0 and above. Because look, this is an opportunity. Spurs are playing. Let me just show you here. Spurs are taking on Chelsea. Spurs are taking on Chelsea. So that means make or break. It's make or break. Right? Eric Ogoya says, what are our injuries? At the moment, I think we do not have big injury worries. Yeah. At the moment, we don't have big injury worries apart from suspensions. We'll have all the players you expect on the pitch. We don't have those big injury worries really at the moment. No. So it's a point. But Spurs take on Chelsea. Chance for Arsenal to close that gap. If Spurs lose another game, it's gonna be important for us because if Spurs lose points, right? Spurs are currently ahead of us, with only a point, but they have one game. They have one game in hand against Arsenal. Why have they been creating noise? One game in hand against Arsenal. Why are they creating noise? Right? And this is a chance, right? This is a chance to make their game in hand useless. If we beat Burnley and somehow Spurs can lose to Chelsea, are they home? Are they away? Need to verify that. They're away from. They're going to the Stamford Bridge, right? So if they can lose to Chelsea, and I pray they lose to Chelsea. I pray they lose to Chelsea. If they lose to Chelsea, their game in hand is useless now. Their game in hand means nothing. So we go above them, right? And that means even if they play their game in hand, they will be only above us by a point, right? But if we draw, it's a mess. If we draw, it's a mess. We cannot be on level points with Spurs, and Spurs have a game in hand. We can't. And remember, Arsenal are also having a couple of games to come. It is not only Spurs that do have difficult games. We are also having difficult games. After Burnley, we'll take on Wolves on 10th February. Then we'll take on Brentford, then Watford, then Leicester, then Aston Villa. So if you look at our next 5 games, we can beat Brentford, we can beat Watford. Wolves is a difficult one. Aston Villa is a difficult one. Leicester City is a difficult one. So we need to win. We need to win. One game per week. Arsenal need to take advantage of this. We need to win. Right. What are you people saying there in the chat? Will Partey play in that game? No. Partey will be missing one game, and this is the only game he will be missing. Cossy confirmed Arsenal transfer today, and that show is coming up. Edson. That show is coming up very, very soon. So, gear up. Thanks, Cossy, for the good work you're doing, bro. Thank you so much. I'm happy when people say thank you. What's the problem with Arsenal? Why are we still can't sign big players? I don't know, because we're lacking players. Because lacking players caused us to lose against Liverpool. I think we've got to agree and we've got to think to speak honestly. Arsenal are not yet at that level where you're asking for big signings. Our big signings are going to be Partey. They're going to be Vlahovic. Those are not big signings. Big signings would be Haaland. Big signings would be Jude Bellingham. Those would be big signings. But we are not yet at that level. You need to first get yourself a position in Europe, right? It's like if you're broke, you forget about the expensive women. Yeah. You forget about the class. You forget about the expensive women. You just think about you take what is available. You take what is available, and then when you get the money, you could start thinking about either transforming the woman you have into a classy one, or pursuing a classy woman. That is what Arsenal are at the moment. We are broke. Not broke because we do not have the money, but we are broke in that in that kind of sense that we do not compare to our opponents in terms of chasing after these players. Haaland, it's Madrid, it's Bayern, isn't it? Vlahovic, it's Arsenal or City or Juve, and today I've seen he wants to go to Juve. Captioned by DiMarzio. So it's that point where you feel like Arsenal are moving in the right direction, but we can't, we can't have any catalysts at the moment to speed up our reaction, because it's going to be a natural process. Get to the top 4 or get Europe, and then you think about these names. Before you get there, everyone is going to be skeptical about your project, right? It's better to sell a project that has worked out than selling a project. Oh, if this one will work, please join us. This one will work. If it doesn't work, then may water carry me. That is what Nigerians say. They say if I'm lying, water should carry me, or thunder should fire me. And really, can those two be summoned like that? But anyway, lads, that's it. That's it. Big signings are needed, but we will need to do better in terms of improving our squad. That's the first thing, because big players want to play with big names. Melbet, make sure you do bet with them. Link is in the video description, and a 200% bonus will be waiting for you. Right? Make sure you bet responsibly and stake what you can afford to lose. Please, I do not want you to lose your money and you say, "Cossy, I'm not watching your show again because I lost my money and now I can't pay my rent." So please bet responsibly and make sure you stake what you can. I'm going to be speaking to you very, very soon. So let me sign out. Transfer show is coming up. I expect bigger numbers on that show. And I expect more comments on the show, and expect more likes on the show. If you've not smashed the like button, you're doing us a disservice, because the community here knows smashing the like button is the way to go to grow our channel, to grow our community. We need 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Can we do it? You guys can do it. I can do it. And I'll speak to you right in the next one.